it's a big show.
I must dig my dig in the mashed potatoes. Go hog.
This is a team sport. It's not a talent-based sport.
We got Bobby fucking Petrino back. If I'm honest with myself right now, it's a cool 12-0. Oh, look at that tornado. Welcome, everybody, to the College Football Tailgate, the big show. I'm your guest host today, as XFL Jim is on a friggin' cruise, and from what I can tell, at a wax museum, sexually assaulting wax models. But yes,
did I miss a post?
Oh, look at his story. His story is chock full on Instagram of him sexually assaulting wax models at the wax museum. The man inquiring if there was a post joining me today, as always, the man, the myth, the Uncle Rico. What's going on, Unc?
Nothing much, man. You know, chilling, still on vacation, and living the good life, man.
Yeah. Oh, already we're being booed by Jon Snow, who wants Jim instead of us. Too bad, is what I have to say. I guess.
We're boys, dude.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Let's get to it. We've got some college bowl games to talk about. We're going to talk about everything up until New Year's Eve, whenever the first college football playoff game, or not the first, but the first of this weekend, of this round, kicks off. Started off, we've got UConn, North Carolina, 2.5-point favorite. Total set at 53.5. UConn plus 115 on the money line. Uncle Rico, what are you thinking?
So early bird gets the worm. I actually got this at UConn plus 5. At this number right now, I don't even know. I probably wouldn't play it. Freddie Kitchens is the coach for UNC, and there's this trend: coaches that are fired, let go, moved on. A bowl team with a new coach historically doesn't do well, and then there's just a psychology effect of it. Belichick's getting, the report is $40 million to build a roster. There's going to be nobody from this UNC team on that roster come next year. How much are they focused? What was their prep going into this? I know people are going to say, well, they're going to want to put stuff on film. At this point in the process, stuff is already done behind the scenes. They really don't want to get hurt. Hampton, running back, probably the third best running back in the country, is out for UNC. That's really going to limit what they're going to be able to do offensively. Starting left tackle is out. Campbell is out. So when you just kind of look at UNC's big body, they're without their best offensive player, their best offensive lineman, and their best defensive player, and don't have a coach, and their coach is Freddie Kitchens. I got the plus 5. At this point right now, I would probably just play the money line. I think UNC wins this one outright.
Hey, you've convinced me. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to play UConn on the money line here to beat North Carolina. Like you said, I mean, how many of these players are actually going to be here next year? You got to be thinking about your future if you're North Carolina. So I'm with you. I think there's a lot psychologically going on, and it makes UConn the play on the money line.
I mean, up next, $40 million, dude. Just think about that. 40.
It's absurd. It's absurd. It's how I know team like my team is going to get just left behind in the future. Like, there's no way. We live in such a poor state. There's no way in hell.
You got Jerry Jones, dude. If Jerry Jones decides he wants them to get a championship.
That's true. That's true. He does have a $1 billion sports brand. All right. Up next, Boston College and Nebraska. Nebraska, 3.5-point favorite. Boston College plus 150 on the money line. Total set at 46.5. Uncle Rico, take it away.
So I don't understand the line movement here. I got this right off of openers. I had a list of teams that one to take no matter who they played in the bowl, and BC was on the top of the list with how they finished the season. So actually at openers, I got this at BC +3. This is tinked up a lot where it's like 3.5, 4 now in some places. White is gone for Nebraska. He left to take the Florida State job. Butler, who's their their linebacker coach, is going to be taking over the defensive calling duties, and that's huge because O'Brien is familiar with them. They've worked together in the past. I think BC's offense is going to have the advantage here. They're going to be able to move the ball along with losing their DC. They're going to be without Butler, Brochin, and Gobler, which is huge defensively. I know Castellanos is gone for BC. I think their offense actually looked better without no Castellanos. So I like BC here. So I already have him at +3. Obviously, I like him even more now with the line movement.
And I think with the change of defensive coaches, I'm actually going to be looking at the over here and play the over 46.5 in this game. All right, we've got Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns, the TCU Horned Frogs spread. TCU a 10-point favorite. The Raging Cajuns +300 on the money line. 59 is the total. And Uncle Rico, what are you thinking about this one?
My note just says no clue. Like literally, I have no clue what to do. Historically, Sonny Dykes hasn't done really well here in these spots. 13 is a big number. This is Louisville's, Louisiana's Super Bowl. How are they going to look here? They do have some injuries at some key positions. TCU, teams like this, historically speaking, the coach is out recruiting. We really don't know how much time. What do you think? 40% time getting ready for the bowl, 60% time like recruiting, 70-30. Like, what is that percentage? How much does Dykes really locked into this? It is a big number. I would tend to go to Louisiana. The thing is, though, is when you get these schools like this from the Sun Belt and MAC, their depth just isn't that much. So they do have a couple pieces, a couple starters that have opted out, and that drop from 1A to 1B is pretty significant. So I sat this one out.
I'm going to go ahead and play it, and I think that number is a little too big. I'm going to take Louisiana +10. I know they're a Sun Belt team. I know they probably lack the depth where a couple of transfer portal moves hurt them. But I think that this is just a scrappy team that's played well all season. And like you said, this is their Super Bowl. So I think Louisiana +10 is the play there. I respect you sitting this one out, though. I completely understand it. We've got Iowa State, the Cyclones, taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Miami 3.5-point favorite. Iowa State +150 on the money line. Total set at 59. Uncle
One
Rico,
more chance to fade Mario. Give me Iowa State here +4.5. So Noel, Iowa State's star wide receiver, all their seniors have said they're going to be playing for Iowa State. They got their tight end back in the Big 12 championship game, which is going to be huge for them offensively. Cristobal as a favorite. I love the fade, and now he's in a bowl. Historically speaking, Cristobal doesn't care about these bowl games. He is out there recruiting. That's what he's doing in Miami. They really don't care about this game. He's out there. He's recruiting. He's trying to get these guys in the portal. Look, I know they said Ward is going to play. How much, though, is he really going to play? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be interesting to see because we are in the world of NIL now. And I'm sure that some of the NIL money is tied into bowl participation. But is it like, does he have to play a quarter? Does he have to play a half? Does he have to play 75, 60% of the snaps? Like, what is that X? And if he does play, how cautious is he going to be? This is a guy that's probably could be the top quarterback pick. He could go number 1 to the Giants. How much is he going to go out there, and how much is he going to like fight for that extra yard, go for that extra, you know what I mean? Be elusive in the pocket.
Right.
I think Campbell's got the coaching advantage. I really don't know the mental mindset of this Miami team after the way they lost. I know Iowa State's the same way, but I just think Campbell's a better coach. I don't think Mario's really paying that much attention to this game. Iowa State players, from what I've read, seem to care a little bit more. I'll take Iowa State here as a dog +4.5.
I'm going to go ahead and take Iowa State on the money line. I think a lot of this has to do, the reason I'm so confident about the money line is the fact that the ACC just looks like absolute garbage in their bowl games so far, just getting absolutely thumped. And I think that, you now have the third tier of the ACC taking on a pretty good Iowa State team. So I think it's worth it to go ahead and just sprinkle and play it straight up Iowa State here. Like you said, I like Dan Campbell. I like Rocco Becht. Rocco Becht's still playing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to go off on how I like Rocco Becht, and then you'd be like, "Oh, he's gone. He gone."
You say Dan Campbell or Matt Campbell?
I believe I probably said Dan Campbell and probably meant Matt Campbell.
Dan Campbell is a god here. It's great being in Michigan. The amount of Dan Campbell ads I see on the TV is just phenomenal.
I can only imagine that he advertises for absolutely everything. Absolutely everything in the Detroit, Michigan area.
Oh my God. Bernstein lawyers, like they're like the ambulance chasers in Michigan.
Right.
He's on them all the time. It's great.
Love it. Love it. Now let's talk about some hot action against some hot Mountain West. Miami of Ohio. The Redhawks taking on the Colorado State Rams. Miami of Ohio, a 2.5-point favorite. Colorado State plus 115 on the money line. Total set at 41. Mac versus Mountain Best. Who you taking?
I took Mountain Best. I took Colorado State here at plus 2.5. It goes back to what I said before. Teams like from the Sun Belt, from the MAC, when they lose starters and starters that are good, the drop-off's too big. Miami is losing their starting left tackle, and their two wide receivers are going to the SEC schools. This is going to be a huge drop-off for Miami. Ever since Horton went out, Colorado State is running the ball a lot more. They're playing at a slower pace. Miami has struggled defending the run. I think Colorado State is going to control the clock on the run game. And I just think that there's just too much for Miami. I just think offensively, they're not going to be able to score. I think we're going to see that thing where Colorado State, nice 6-minute drive to a field goal. Miami, like 3 and out. Colorado State, another long drive, put up 7. And then Miami's just playing catch up and Colorado State's just sitting on that ball.
Yeah, I think that this is just a don't touch for me. I feel like Colorado State is a team that I know the least about out of the Mountain West with all the teams that we tend to follow and that we're fans of. So I'm staying away from it. I kind of feel the same way about Miami of Ohio. This is a pass for me. Coming up, we got a in-state battle in this bowl game from I've heard is the most improved team in the country, the East Carolina Pirates. They are a 7-point dog to the NC State Wolfpack. They're plus 210 on the money line. Total set at 59.5. Are you swinging your sword with the Pirates?
You know what? I'm swinging my sword. I took the 7 and I took the plus 210. Gibson is out as the DC for North Carolina. He's going up to Marshall to take the job there. Both DBs for NC State are banged up. And now you have a new DC coming in. Not really new DC, they're promoting within, but it's going to be totally different calls, totally different rhythm, play calling sets, all the whole 9 yards. And now you're going up against this ECU team, which likes to pass. I think ECU is going to be able to move the ball here. Also, they named Harville as the full-time coach. I think that's big. He was their interim coach. Kids are going to rally around with them. This is ECU's Super Bowl. Teams like ECU always are going to have a chip on the shoulder when they play these teams that they look up to that are from the same state. They're going to want to show they're one of the big boys. I think this is when they do it. I think this is kind of a disappointment of a season for NC State. They got the kid from Coastal Carolina whose name I was spacing on, who was a Heisman dark horse. They were a dark horse to make the playoffs. This team has just been too banged up. I think they're going to just try to reload for next year. I'll take ECU here plus the 7, plus the 210 in their Super Bowl.
As much as I've made fun of them all year for supposedly being the most improved team in college football, I've also faded NC State as much this year. So I think that it's time to stick with the trend and stick with something that's been winning all year, which is fading NC State, who's just looked absolutely terrible. Uncle Rico gave a bunch of good reasons why to take ECU. Mostly for me, it's just a lack of belief in NC State in this spot, and kind of looking at the track record for what I've been given all year. What am I supposed to look at here to tell me that they're going to play any better than they have all season?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
You know what I mean? There's,
yeah. All right. BYU, Colorado. Colorado, a 3.5 point favorite. BYU plus 145 on the money line. Total set at 55. Does Dion get it done in his first?
I mean, it's been interesting because Dion has said that Sanders and Hunter are going to play. To me, that makes no sense. Both these guys are probably going to be top 5 picks. Why risk it? And this is a little bit of a weird matchup since both these guys are in the Big 12 and it's conference foes playing against each other. For me, if I would take BYU just because they're going to be getting the points in a game like this, but this isn't a game I'm rushing to bet. I think you can get plus money on both these teams live betting.
I think I go ahead and pass on this one because the big question, and you brought it up, is what happens with Shedeur Sanders and with Travis Hunter? How much of this game do they actually play? Because if they play the early, they get up big, then they go out and they let BYU backdoor this thing. That's kind of the concern. So I'm going to go ahead and stay away from BYU, Colorado. It leaves one more bowl game for today. Louisiana Tech against the number 19, I think, Army Black Knights. Army, a 14.5 point favorite. Louisiana Tech plus 550 on the money line. Total set at 44. You're swinging at Louisiana Tech on the money line, right?
Dude, I am doing and shit here. Louisiana Tech. I mean, look, props to them for sticking up for Marshall. This should be Marshall here, but we know all their players left in the portal as soon as the coaching change was made. How much time do they have to prepare? So that would lead me to Army, but I love fading Army anytime they're laying over two touchdowns. So I'm just going to sit back and do nothing in this game.
I am going to go. I don't think you could make an Army total Army spread high enough for me at this point with how high I am on an Army. First of all, they're not going to lose anybody to the transfer portal. Like once you're there, you're pretty well locked in. I mean, you might lose a couple underclassmen, but you're not going to lose
didn't one guy leave to go to Arizona State?
It's possible. Because I think the deal is once you're a junior, you are like locked in. And like if you try to transfer or anything, it's like a 6-figure fine from the US government, because you're skipping out on your military duty. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Army here. In Bryson Daly, we trust. I think they cover this big number. I might even take an alternate number that's a little bit bigger if I can get a little bit better price on it. Like I'll take Army minus 16 plus 100.
Okay. Army's running back Kenway Adua is transferring. You want to talk about a big change in life?
Right.
I mean, literally, you want to talk about a big change in life, going from being on Army to now being at Arizona State. That kid, that first year is going to be in for it.
That kid is going to party his face off is what he's going to do. That's he's
oh my God.
And he's not going to wake up at 5:30 a.m. the next day.
No.
All right. Our last game that we're looking at today, the Iowa Hawkeyes, the Missouri Tigers. Missouri, a 3-point favorite, plus 130 on the money line for Iowa. Total set at 40.5. I'm staying away from this one because of my despise of Eli Drinkowitz and Missouri, and I think that Missouri wins. So I'm staying away from it. What about you, Uncle Rico?
I will probably be at Iowa here. What's the line at?
I'm seeing it at 3 right now.
I'll be on Iowa at some point. I'm just going to kind of sit back right now, but I'll probably be at Iowa.
You know what? For old time's sake, even though it hasn't been the thing this year, go ahead and give me the under. I'm going to go under 40.5 here in this game just because I miss Iowa unders.
Okay. Respect.
Uncle Rico, do you have a round robin for today?
Yeah, I just took basically all my college bets that I had lined up. So what is that? That is UConn on the money line, BC on the money line, ECU on the money line, and Iowa State and Colorado State on the money line. So every college football bet, I just money line their round robin parlay with their money lines. God, I can't talk.
I went with in my round robin UConn money line. I went with the over in the Boston College Nebraska game. I went with Iowa State money line, and then I took the under in the Iowa Missouri game. So that's 4 legs for me. Uncle Rico, anything you want to shout out before we get out of here?
No, been a good year. We'll be here for a while, guys. We appreciate you guys for watching, and hopefully make you guys some money.
Yeah, well, we will be back on New Year's Eve to talk about the New Year's games and the the college football playoff and everything. So we will see you then on New Year's Eve. I think at 10 a.m. God's time or Central for you lames who don't know what God's time is. That's gonna do it for us here at the College Football Tailgate. We will catch you in a couple days.